While Parsable supports visualizing the data it collects through charts and dashboards, many teams already have other visualization tools that visualize data from all sorts of inputs, not just Parsable. Apache Superset is one of these, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Parsable Superset connector that's using SQL Alchemy to connect your Parsable data to Superset and use its rich suite of visualization and querying tools to receive insight and analysis on your data. Let's get started. So as always with Python, it's best to use a virtual environment. So here I create one, and here I activate it. The command is slightly different if you're using Windows. So with that in place, and you can see on my command line that the version, I will install Superset. This will take longer if you haven't done this already. Next, Superset has two mandatory environment variables. One is a secret key, and one is defining the Flask app. Flask is the Python framework that Superset is using under the hood. Next, we initialize the database, then create an admin user. And you can just accept a lot of the defaults here if you want to. Of course, you probably should set a password and keep it relatively simple for this local one. And then finally, initialize the data in the database. And with all that in place, we can now add the Parsable connector. Now, there is a Parsable connector that has been merged into the Superset codebase, but it's not part of a release yet. So it could be that you don't need to do this if you're watching this in a few months' time. But for now, I will install it with this pip install command. And then finally, with all of that in place, we can start Superset with this run command, setting the port and a few other arguments. And there we go. And you can see the URL it's running on here. As the Parsable API returns individual log streams, you have to add each one you want to access as a different database connection, all using the same method for the most part, with a slight difference on a later log stream that I will return to. And just to show you, here are some of the data set connections I created already. Basically, they take this SQL Alchemy URL, setting Parsable as the protocol, access details, the URL, and then the log stream you want to connect to. So in this case, that is the backend log stream. And for this particular video, we want backend CSI as well, which you can see here, and also one more. But I'm going to come back to that because for that one, I'm going to make some different settings. And you can see the respective log streams showing in the Parsable dashboard here. I'm using the demo instance, so we don't have to go through the steps of setting up Parsable. Of course, if you're using your own, you can do similar things but change the relevant details. Next, you need to create a data set and a chart, and the Superset interface kind of does this all at once. And again, the process is similar in each case, so I'll show you a couple. So you select the database connection, the schema, there is only one, and then the table, again, there is only one because of that log stream to database connection. We'll create the other one as well, so the CSI. Same again, you can see the connection is working there. And now from here, we can create the chart. I'm going to start with backend. And for backend, I want the bar chart. I'm going to pick the method, the HTTP method, drag that onto the x-axis, set count for the metric, and this just returns a total of each operation. So we give this chart a name and save it to a dashboard. And then you can see it here in the dashboard with a summary, and you can also expand it into full screen. There we go. And shrink it back down again. So relatively straightforward visualization. So next I'll create another one from the CSI dataset. I'm going to change the type, the visualization type, to a gauge chart, something that kind of shows green or red dependent on the values behind it. I'm going to pick severity and filter this one. So equal to, and I only want to pick error. And you can see it pre-populates the values there, which is pretty helpful. Also drag that to the metrics, change count distinct to count. So we get the totals. That's enough. Create the chart. And based on the set data, the sample data, this is sort of roughly 50%. So the gauge is kind of reasonable. It's not a warning, it's not error, that kind of thing. And once again, we can give it a name, save it to a chart name and to a dashboard. And there they both are on a wonderful parsable dashboard. There's one other thing you can do with the underlying data in Superset, and that is SQL queries. But there's a couple of extra steps here. So first, we'll set up the connection as always. This one I will call Nginx. Set that URL as always, but go over to the Advanced tab and allow certain features on the SQL Lab tab here. We need this one and this one and this one. So the middle three and the last one. Connect to that. And there we go. And in this case, you don't need to create a data set. So if we get to the SQL Lab tab here, select the database. It will only show you ones that have been set to work with SQL Exploring. I try this query here. And this, for a particular timestamp, returns the status as a count. And there we go. And you can also get this as a CSV and then create a chart directly from it. And then another one that's pretty similar. Based on this timestamp, we return two fields and group them by each other and return the count. In this video, I showed you how to use the parsable SQL Alchemy connector to bring your log data into Apache Superset and use its wide and extensive set of visualization and querying tools to bring that log data into Superset. This allows you to do all sorts of cross-querying with data from other sources and all sorts of other things. If you're interested in finding out more, head on over to parsable.com.